Hey, welcome to my workshop. This week's video, I've got another toolbox, and this one is my first Blackhawk toolbox. It's got the logo here. Been looking for one of these for quite a while. Rarely see Blackhawk in my area, so I was pretty excited when this came up on the state sale auction site 2 or 3 weeks ago. I got it for 14 bucks, and it had quite a few tools in it. I've cleaned those out, but hang on, and I'll show you what this thing looks like. So this is a 6-drawer box. It's well made. Of course, the lid opens and it's got the 3 locks back here for the drawers. You can see it's missing a lock, and there are 8 different locks in here, none of which fit this box, and a shotgun shell. I cleaned all the tools out already, and you can see the drawers are in pretty good shape. They're not beat up. The fronts are in good shape, which that's always a struggle, is trying to straighten these out. Let me get these things out and we'll get to cleaning it up. These drawers are the easy kind to get out. These little spring clips just pop. And you just slide the drawer right out. Okay, the slides aren't in too bad a shape, but they do have a bunch of old grease on them, so quick trip through the ultrasonic cleaner should clean these things up really good. I don't know how old this tool chest is. I'm guessing at least as old as the 80s. Hopefully we'll find a date code on it as we're cleaning it up. I'll probably just replace all these screws. Both sides were missing one at the top. This is like pot metal, and you can see the plating's coming off here. So I'll probably sandblast these and paint them. I just don't know with what yet. I'm going to start with some Zep in a spray bottle here. I'm out of my favorite cleaner, which is a crud cutter. And I'm going to use a sponge to work it in and just see what it would look like. I'll use the soft side first. It feels very gritty. I'm glad all that orange paint or whatever that was came off. Pretty old grease. Wipe as much out as I can before I start scrubbing. I like to get one of these tongue depressors, and this rag's a little bit thinner than the microfiber towel I was using, and I'll try and run it down these tracks just to get as much out of there as I can. Okay, for the rest of this, I'm going to turn the camera off so I can stand in front of it, but I will show you something else that I didn't see until now. But the bottom of this thing is in pretty bad shape. So I may paint the bottom of this just to preserve it. All right, I'm not sure how the camera's going to pick this up. Let me put a shadow over, see if that makes any difference. But look at this area here. What I did was I actually gave it a very light wet sand with 2000 grit foam pad, and then used a turtle wax rubbing compound on there, and I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to give this a try. I'm going to wet sand the whole thing with this 2000 grit and just see how it comes out. I'm going to do everything by hand. I'm using pretty light pressure, just enough to keep the pad in place. Okay, so I will now clean the rest of the box with the crud cutter and do the wet sanding with the 2000 grit, and I'm going to get the whole box done with that before I start polishing. Okay, I've got the whole box wet sanded with the 2000 grit, used 3000 grit paper in a few places. I should have done this first, but I didn't, so I'm going to do it now. So I'm going to give the bottom a sand with 80 grit, see what it looks like. This is all just peeling paint and surface rust. It's nothing serious here. I got the loose paint off and all the rust. I'm going to wipe it down with alcohol. All right, the bottom of the toolbox is painted. It's dried for about 24 hours. It feels real good. I used a color called Sunrise Red. Normally I would use Regal Red, but that stuff takes forever to dry, and this Sunrise Red did pretty good. Again, wasn't looking for perfection, just wanted to clean up all the rust and loose paint and get a coat of paint on it. All right, I'm ready to get some polishing compound on the toolbox here. Got my camera set up with the best lighting I could find to hopefully be able to show you. Got my pneumatic polisher here, and I've got my pad kind of damp. There you go. So that works, it's working out pretty good. So I'm just gonna finish the top, and then I'll flip the cabinet over and work the other areas as well. huge difference. I mean, it still looks like a beat up old toolbox, but it's clean and shiny. So now it's a clean and shiny beat up old toolbox. But pretty happy with the way the polishing came out. So now I'm just gonna get a coat of wax on it. I'm gonna use this Meguiar's Carnauba wax. So I'll just get this on the whole cabinet and we'll let it haze up. Then we'll come back and buff it off. You don't have to put wax on in a circular motion. It's just easy to get coverage that way. All right, now it's time to finish up the drawers. Look pretty good. Yeah, I say these things came sparkling clean. They're gonna need a little bit of brushing, rinsing off, but not much. Gonna coat these with a little bit of WD-40, and then that'll get wiped off and oiled or greased when I go to install them. Okay, I'm not going to show you all the drawer cleanup on every one of them. I'll just do one. The drawers are in really good shape. They're just dirty, and they're all very similar in condition. So the process is going to be to scrub it down with a crud cutter and a brush. I'll take it into the sink, rinse it off real good, dry it. Then I'll do the wet sanding, and then I'll see what I can do here with this. This is riveted in. I'm not going to drill them out. I'm going to see if I can clean it in place. All right, I'm going to start with the 320 grit, which is the red pad. I want to go light first and just see how this reacts. So the bottom one is the first drawer I cleaned up, wet sanded to 2000, and then I did polish it with the Turtle Wax polishing compound. I don't have wax on it yet. This one has just been cleaned. I don't want these things to look brand new, so I think what I'm gonna do is take them to the sandblaster. All right, that's after sandblasting, and I'm really happy with that. Nothing else on the toolbox is gonna look brand new, but nothing else is gonna look this bad. So that cleaned up pretty good without taking the finish off. It's popped here a little bit there and there, but I think it's going to be fine. That'll work. Okay, for the drawer locks, I'm going to get a little bit of grease on the internal slides. Nice. All right, I'm ready to put the drawer slides in. I like to use 3-in-1 oil. I don't put a lot of grease on these because these aren't going to get used a ton. And the best way I found to do it is I put a little bit on the track down here and then on the top of the slide. And then I just pop it in. All right, well, I'm done with the 1967 Blackhawk tool chest. I did find the date code in here. I think it was May of 67, made in USA. Really nice tool chest. It actually was in a little bit worse condition than what I thought when I started cleaning up. It could have been a candidate for a complete restoration with a sand and repaint, but I don't know. I just kind of like the way it was. Everything just works beautifully. Really happy with how it turned out. Hey, thanks for watching the video. I really appreciate you being here. This is a fun project to clean up this 1967 Blackhawk tool chest. This is going to go great in my collection, and I'm going to use it to store Blackhawk tools. As you can tell, I like to collect Blackhawk tools, and I've got a lot more upstairs that one of these days I'm going to get around to doing a video and showing you that. I might not be doing a video for a couple weeks, but be sure to come back to the channel and check it out, because I'm going to be doing a pretty major refresh in my shop, and I'll be excited to show you what I'm doing. Until then, take care.